Hi, I'm Debbie Braun, President of the Aspen Chamber Resort Association, and thank you for joining us on this edition of ACRA's Election Forum. I hope you all got a chance to look at our city council candidates that we interviewed earlier in the week, along with our mayoral candidates. And today, we're really lucky to have Lift 1 Corridor here today. So welcome. I have Harris, I have Kelly, and some guy named Brian over there on the end. Hi, thank you for joining us
Thanks
so
for
much.
having us.
Yeah, thanks.
I really just want to start off by really encouraging our voters to get educated. There's been lots of great articles in the Aspen Times. You guys have a wonderful website. I hope somebody will give us the website as we talk today. Aspen Public Radio's done a lot of information gathering. So there's a lot of really good info out there. Get out and vote on March 5th. It's super important for our whole community. So with that, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Are you guys exhausted? Have you been out sort of talking Lift 1 all the time?
No, it's exciting.
It is exciting.
Invigorating.
It is. I feel like this is such a wonderful time where we get the opportunity to really talk about community and how we can all do things together. We're all working in our own little silos. So during election season, it's been fun to get out and see everyone. But today specifically, we're going to just be talking about Lift 1. And I know that you guys have had the opportunity to talk about Lift 1, so we just wanted to kind of head in a little bit deeper if we could. So I don't know who wants to answer which question. Jump in at any time. Conversational in nature. So my first question. Okay. One issue many people bring up is the rezoning of the base of the mountain. So I just wanted to start off by, can you explain what it means to be zoned conservation versus what it means to be zoned lodging?
Yeah, you want me to take that?
Brian?
Sure.
So, the conservation zone within the city limits of Aspen, especially up at the base of the mountain, across Aspen Mountain, was created as a holding district. It wasn't a no development district as you would normally see like out in the county or out in the forest or near BLM land where it's conservation. The preserve, for example.
Sure.
It's not like that whatsoever. It's actually a medium density zone district that was created back in the 60s, 70s as a holding district for future development at the base of the mountain. Yeah, I mean that's what it is. And
What's a lodging zone?
the lodging district or the lodging zone?
Well, aren't there like conservation zone, lodging zone? There's like a few different
yeah.
layers right up in there, which is
Yes.
part of why it's so complicated.
That's right. So, like Brian was saying, it's a conservation zoning, not a conservation easement. And although they sound similar, they're very, very different. So, conservation zoning doesn't mean no development. Gorsuch House, through their conservation zoning, could build single-family homes on that land. What they're trying to do is get it rezoned to lodge so they could build a hotel, which is more community-focused and is better for Aspen to have more lights on rather than empty single-family homes.
Right.
So that's what we're going for. And to his point about it being a holding pattern, that's very true. The Little Nell, Gondola Plaza, those were previously zoned conservation. And until there was a proper development that could be utilized at the base, that's what it was. So it's a challenging thing to explain. There's a lot of nuance to it, but that's generally what it is.
I think you just did a very nice job.
Well, and
you.
I
Yeah.
You
believe
did do a
that
good job.
you guys could also put in a cemetery or a railroad up there under the current.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Current
different
zoning, right?
a lot of different things you could do within that zone district, but we just want to, Jeff and I's intention was always to put back what was there in the 50s, 60s, 70s, hotels and community gathering places and World Cup and hotbeds and
Right, some
bars,
vitality back.
restaurants,
Yeah.
and
Well, that's great, but I keep hearing from a lot of people who said, well, if we vote no on the project, it's going to go back to council for further deliberation. So I don't know that's necessarily true. If this project doesn't get passed, are we going back and continuing to negotiate?
So that is categorically false. The reality is that the Lift 1 Lodge approval is from 2011, and the state of Colorado mandates that any land use approval has a 10-year window. Otherwise, that approval expires. So it was approved in 2011. We're now in 2019. We're sort of running up against the end of that 10-year period.
Right.
So the reality is that, we've put our project on hold for 2 years in order to, bring the lift down, modify our project to allow that ski corridor to occur. And if the vote ends up being no, there simply won't be enough time to start over again and go through this entire process to bring the lift down. We'd sort of be backed into a corner where we had to build our existing entitlements.
Could you go back and ask for an extension of rights?
You can't, because that 10-year window is absolute.
Okay.
So in 2021...
Because I think that's what a lot of people
Right.
also think, oh, we'll just go back and get 10 more years.
Yeah, we can't do that. That's a
Okay.
state of Colorado law. So unfortunately, the current entitlements that we have are for the same size building, it's the same heights, and the main difference is that the two buildings that make up the Lift One Lodge are too close together to allow for a ski corridor and a lift to go between them.
Right.
So what we've done for our project, for this plan, is that we push them further, we move them further apart to allow that 60-foot ski corridor to come through those two buildings. And there simply wouldn't be enough time to go back to council and go through this entire process again.
Without that expiring.
Correct.
Well, it's interesting you bring up a point that one of our members asked, which is, in our community, there have been some large developments that start and then they sit dormant. I hate to even say the Aspen Club, but that's a good example right now. And then they sit dormant, and then they might start back up again, recession, economy. How are you going to avoid that happening to your project? Once we approve your project, how do we know it's not, you don't have your financing,
Right.
something happens? Or is the plan to, hit the dirt and the shovel and...
Yeah, we fully plan on hitting the ground running as soon
Okay.
as we can, as soon as the vote hopefully is approved. What I can say as far as any sort of guarantee that the project will, start and get completed is that, our principals, Michael and Aaron Brown, have been doing business in this area for 20 years. They own 2 hotels, successful hotels in Aspen. This is our business. And, I can't speak to any other projects, but for our project, we will be fully financed before we put a shovel in the ground. So there won't be a situation where we run out of money halfway through the project. All of the money will be in place so that we can complete the project once we start it.
I guess the question is, okay, so you're going to get started. Could you start, you stop, and you start and go all the way through? Or is it all for one for all with the project?
I think it's generally all for one for
Okay.
all. And I will also add that the ski company, who has been doing business here for 50, 60, whatever years, they have a huge interest in seeing this project completed. And it serves none of us up here or the ski company or anyone else who's involved in the project to start and stall out. We're
Yeah.
all very highly motivated to get this thing complete as quickly as possible.
Great. Kelly, why can't we just build a beautiful museum, ski museum, on your current site? Why do we need it up at the Lift One Lodge?
Well, it makes the most sense to be at the bottom of a ski hill, right? Because it's going to be a ski history museum, and this particular area is where skiing in our valley, organized skiing, it's the birthplace of it. So it makes the most sense. The Aspen Historical Society has actually had the ability to build a ski museum on that spot since 1995. And this is the best way for it to happen for us. We don't have to build it from the ground up. It gets to be in a building that will be historically designated, the Skier Chalet Lodge building, and it will be in a revitalized area. It doesn't do us a lot of good to have a ski museum in what's essentially a dead zone where there's not a lot going on. So for us, it's the best possible way to get this museum built.
It's interesting when you talk about a dead zone, because you're really talking about 1.5 miles from your current location up the hill. So
How many people do you know who won't go past the roundabout?
I do it every day, so I don't know. In Vail, is the ski museum right there at the base of the mountain as well, or where's the Vail Ski Museum?
It is, and it's actually the Colorado Ski History Museum in Vail. It's not, and they have some of our artifacts in it, including a Lift One chair. It's It's part of the parking garage, actually. It's
Okay.
in kind of a building off the parking garage. So,
Right.
I mean, kind of Olive Vale is a base area.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Okay.
It's front and center. There's, I don't know, 500 parking spaces in that garage. That's
Right.
where everybody parks. They pass right
They
past
go right
it.
by it. The
Right.
restrooms are next to it.
Yeah, it's a
Great.
very active location for that to be. in
Will you
Vail,
be
for sure.
retailing out of the museum at all?
Well, we don't, I mean, this is such early stages and we don't have final plans by any means, but museums typically don't pay for themselves with admission, so we will have some museum-related sort of revenue-generating things in there, and a gift shop. I mean, gift shops are, think of MoMA. They
Yeah.
probably make most of their money through their gift shop. We will have some sort of gift shop kind of presence, yes.
Great. So all for one for all. We're hoping to get this all built about the same time. That seems like it would be the easiest way because so many people are talking about how many dump trucks of dirt is going to have to go back and forth. So I'm assuming all that collaboration is going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will. I mean, we have two major projects going on right now, and on South Aspen Street, those townhomes that have been under construction. We also have the W Hotel, and I think both of those projects have done a great job to, as great as they can to mitigate their impact on the community. I haven't heard too many complaints
Will those
about
projects
those.
be completed by the time yours starts?
Yes. Yeah, I think this
I think that's
summer,
great to hear too. Yeah.
Yes.
like significantly before us,
I
maybe
think the
a
W
year.
is slated to open this summer,
I think maybe in the fall, but yeah.
Maybe fall,
Yeah,
yeah.
this year though.
this year.
Okay, great. Tell me about, because I feel like all of your materials really are trying to touch into this emotional connection that our community has with the base area. Outside of the museum, how will this redevelopment create an emotional connection for the visitors that are coming to Aspen?
So the thing for me that's most exciting is that when you stand on Dean Street and you look up at all of this, the whole project, the thing that stands out the most is that you're looking up to the mountain. It's a wide open corridor. So it really is this amazing connection of the mountain to town. And so, we're all here because of what occurred on this site, back in the 40s when Lift 1 was originally built. That was the start of Aspen as we know it. And so to have that connection again between the mountain and town, I think is really special, and I think that's what makes this project so amazing.
Great.
Yeah, he said it really well. I can't really follow. He's doing a good job. But I would just say the same thing. I think the magic of the mountain, bringing it back to the community, down to Dean Street. I mean, effectively, when you're at the Gondola Plaza, you're on Dean Street and you're looking past the St. Regis through the arches. You go straight through there. You can walk up some steps, put your skis on, and get back on the lift, just like at the Gondola Plaza. And putting community gathering spaces and places to operate over there that were always there.
Yeah, I think activating that
yeah.
side of town will be really important. I would never go
ski
over there
racing.
myself.
Right.
Right now. I mean, I'm all over on the gondola side. So
Yeah.
to have additional options available, I think, is great for that activation.
And what's really great, I think, is the use of the historical assets
Yes.
in bringing that vitalization back. I obviously wasn't here, but heard great stories about the steakhouse and the restaurant and the vibe that went on there, and to bring that back is pretty cool.
And this, somebody said the city in the parcel, and I know you're not city representatives, but a park, size of Wagner Park,
Yeah, so that's
pretty cool.
right. So that's
Yeah.
what makes this area not just a winter ski portal,
Yeah.
but it's really a year-round attraction.
Sure.
Because the combination of Willoughby, Delancet Gardens, Lift 1 Park, it's all one contiguous space.
Right.
And it's nearly the size of Wagner Park. And the Parks Department for the city did an amazing job of planning all of this out. And they have some really interesting ideas for how they're going to utilize that park space.
That's great. Okay, so we talked about the number one, reasons why the visitor would try to find that emotional connection with that area. But what do you think, in your opinion, each of you, number one benefit for an Aspen local? Ski racing sounds good to me. The lift sounds good to me. The park sounds good to me. But what's that number one? What do you think the number one benefit is?
Reactivating that side of the mountain. Where do I start? I've been talking
I think
about,
that's what's tough is that I don't think it's one thing.
It's
different
not.
for everybody.
There's so many public aspects of this plan. There's so many amenities that are open to the public. It's for people from Aspen and visitors. It's not for one or the other. It's really
Right.
for everybody. And I think it's tough to pick one thing because there are so many great benefits.
Well, and I think, you know, if you're someone who really cares about skiing, then that's great for you. If you're someone who really cares about history and preserving, you know, some of the, like the two skier chalet buildings, the gantry of the old lift,
The preservation.
then that happens. If you're excited about another place to go to dinner, or you know another place for your friends to stay when they come to town, then you've got that. I mean, I think it kind of hits, or you know, World Cup. You know, this is going to be really instrumental,
Yeah.
I think, in getting World Cup back. So it kind of hits all
On
the
a
points.
lot of different areas.
It does, and we're building 67 employee housing units around town, or in and around town prior to the project's opening. The hotels, they can't open until we've built that. Plus, we have another $30 to $35 million of transfer tax that's generated over the next 30 years as part of the projects. That also goes to the housing fund. So plus all the normal lodging taxes that gets dispersed. You know, there's just a massive
ACRA.
amount of
Economic benefits.
economic benefit that,
Yeah.
that these projects bring to the community. So
And
they're
how
great.
long from start to finish will it take to get the entire project done?
So our general plan is that after the vote, it'll take about a year for architectural, engineering, construction drawings to be done.
Okay.
Then you go through the city's permit process, which for a project like this, we're anticipating about a year. So we think that we'll start construction in roughly 2 years, and we think construction will take about 2 years.
Okay.
So start to finish, we think 4 years is a reasonable time frame.
So it's interesting. I think people think it'll get passed in November, and then it's going to be built almost right away. But
November,
there's-
March.
March. Oh God.
Few
Please
weeks.
vote.
March
March
5th.
5th.
Don't
March
forget
5th.
to vote yes to lift
Don't
one
be
on
me.
March 5th.
Yeah.
No, we still have to go through the permit process like everybody else.
Yeah.
And create those documents. So yeah.
So initially, years and years ago, everybody was just so excited about the restaurant. There's going to be a new restaurant. It's going to be affordable. Does it have to be affordable restaurant, and is it open year round?
Yeah, we believe it'll be year-round. This whole
Okay.
portal is meant to be a year-round attraction.
Okay.
There's going to be obvious winter skiing, things like that going on. But also in the summer, we mentioned the parks. It's going to be hopefully a year-round attraction.
Is the city stipulating at all that you have to be open year round or anything like that?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. How do you see this development affecting the current business community? You're activating a new space, but you're also going to be creating a lot of competition.
I think competition is good, always has been. Speaking from I'm the ski coach on the team, if you will, or one of the partners, but that's what we teach our kids that. I've taught ski racers that for 20 years. We teach them how to win, how to fail, how to learn, how to set goals, all those things that, competition is good.
Makes everybody better.
That makes everybody better and hopefully a better environment for the community. So we embrace that environment. I think we always have. Ski racing always has.
Yeah.
And outdoor lifestyle has always done that as well. So
Yeah,
Great.
I think Aspen is a world-class ski resort, and we're just hopeful to be a part of that.
yeah.
One thing I continue to hear about is this gift. Have you guys heard about this $4 million gift to the developers?
I have heard of
Has
such a
anybody
thing.
said anything?
Yeah.
It's actually $4.36 million.
That's correct.
As a gift. Is this a gift? What is going on with this money? Is somebody going to just put that in their bank account and get to keep this gift, or how are we utilizing this non-gift?
It's certainly not a gift.
Okay.
No, the truth of the matter is that this has been a public-private partnership from the moment council instructed all of us to get together and told us to bring the lift down.
Yeah.
So it was lift first, everything else second. And through that public-private partnership, working with the Parks Department, the Engineering Department, Community Development, and all the great city departments that have played a huge role in this. We've all worked together to create this plan. And one of the things that will be required is an improvement to Dean Street. So a lot of this, this portal will be activated on Dean Street. So Dean Street needs to be redone.
Yeah.
We're gonna add sidewalks, we're gonna add bike lanes, and we're gonna add drop-off. So Dean Street needed to be redone. So part of that 4.36 million is gonna go towards Dean Street, which is obviously a city street, it's a public street, and the city is going to be investing in improving that street. The rest of the 4.36 million is going to go towards the ski museum. So we're taking this Chalet Lodge building, we're going to designate it historic, we're going to renovate it, and it's going to be gifted to the Historical Society. It's going to sit on city land, and they're going to do a great job with programming it. And so part of that 4.36 million will go towards that. Those are the only two pieces that money is going towards. So it's really just for the public infrastructure parts of this plan. And that's the truth.
I do want to be clear about one thing, though, Debbie, is the part that's going toward the ski museum building, it's not going to the Historical Society. So
Right.
we are going to be on the hook for raising money to do the part that we have always been supposed to do, which is to take the building once it's moved, once it's stabilized, put into a white box condition, then we start our capital campaign
Okay.
to finish it out, turn it into a museum, and operate the museum.
Kelly, I think that's really important to distinguish because people will believe
Right.
that then why are you doing a capital campaign? You just got a big
You just got
gift.
$3 million from the
Yeah.
city, which is not what
It's
is
not
happening.
really the case for it. Are you getting any of the 4.36 million over there on the Gorsuch side, or?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, nobody's getting.
No, I
No,
don't
none
think
of
so.
You haven't run the check yet?
Not
Okay.
not a penny of that 4.36 million is going towards any of the private development. It's not
No.
going to any hotels, any condos,
Why does
anything
that
like
seem
It's
that.
also
to be
price capped.
To be a big sticking point.
I'm not sure. I think that it's really great that the city is investing in its own infrastructure
Certainly.
and helping this project succeed. We all want this project to succeed, and we don't want to see any sort of delays or issues, and this is just one piece of helping that process.
And it's also tied to the lift going in.
That's right. That's actually a great point. That 4.36
The
million
4.6.
will only be invested in the project once the lift is operational. So this goes back to the city sort of putting us on this path of lift first, everything else second. That money will only be given out from the city's coffers once that lift is operational.
Yeah, but if it's for the street, will they get the lift in first and
So-
then do Dean
So
Street?
the developers will pay for all of that up front.
Up front, okay.
That's
So
right.
if you don't come through.
Right.
Then you're not gonna get the payment.
Right.
Okay.
That $4 million only happens once the lift is operational.
Okay.
And if it ends up being more expensive than that, then we're on the hook for that. The developers
it's
are.
capped
It's
out
capped.
at-
It's capped.
That's
yeah.
correct.
And potentially in a few years, it could possibly go up.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, construction inflation is a challenge in this city, but
right.
we understand that.
Do I say City Hall? Oh, that's a whole different meeting. No.
You're going to need some other panelists.
Yeah, for that one, you're like, I also feel like I've heard out there that there are other entities that need to approve this project, like has the Forest Service weighed in on the lift? Has the building department? Are we all set with other entities? Nobody else needs to approve. Really, you just kick into the permitting process and all that happens there? Or are there other sets of approvals?
So just like any development in Aspen, once it's approved through an ordinance, it'll go through final approval with P&Z and HPC and the building department getting the permit. So there's still details to be hammered out, but those are sort of minor in the scheme of things.
Okay, so you wouldn't be coming back asking for like large variances?
No, not at
At
all.
that
all
point,
all of
yeah.
the size of the buildings, the height of the buildings, the number of hotel rooms, all of that is set.
Okay.
You can't ask
You
for it
can't,
again.
yeah, you can't get
Because I
more.
think some people feel like you'll go back in during that permitting time and try to renegotiate, and that won't be possible.
No, that won't be possible. In fact, that's why it's going to a vote.
voters.
Is because the voters have to decide ultimately whether to approve this project or not. It's not one department or a few departments within the city. It's really the voters. This is their one shot to approve this, and get it going.
Which is why it is so important that we educate all of our voters and
Yeah.
get them out for March 5th. Because it seems like this might be one of the last opportunities that we're going to be able to
This is it. This is
This-
the last one.
Really?
This is really it.
Well, I can, hopefully the community appreciates, because everybody's hundreds, maybe thousands of people in the community over the last 20 years, and the co-ops, and 2 co-ops.
Those are
starting
bad
in
words.
early
Don't say
2000s.
that.
Well, it didn't get there, right?
Well, I sat on those 2 co-ops.
Yeah, and you
so,
spent
yeah,
hours
I
and
did.
probably hundreds of hours yourself. So, hopefully we've finally gotten the lift back down to the bottom of the mountain into town after 48 years. We've done what everybody wanted, what we wanted as
Yeah.
community members. So hopefully now it's finally time. Let's get informed and let's move forward.
Yeah.
And what city council charged us with doing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we only have a couple minutes left, so I wanted to give you guys the opportunity. Is there a place if I have more questions? Do you have a website?
We do. It's liftonecorridor.com.
Okay, so
We're also
somebody
on Facebook
went there
and Instagram.
to the liftonecorridor.com. And what happened to your frequently asked questions? Is it back up again? Because it went down. People were trying to click onto it in our office.
I will find out the
Okay,
answer for
so
you.
I was like, what happened? Why did the FAQs go down? I know the city
I'm
of
looking at
Aspen.
somebody else going,
Yeah, City of Aspen also
get that
has
back up.
FAQs up on their website as well. I think right now more than ever, misinformation is getting out, real information is getting out,
So
fake news.
Sorry to
Yeah.
jump in here, but I'm glad you brought up the city's website
Yeah.
because it's important for people to understand that the pro and con statements that are on the city's website have not been vetted
Right.
as factual. There's a fact sheet on the city's website which
Yes.
is factual, but the pro and cons are opinions, and a lot of them unfortunately include
Are crazy.
lies.
Yeah, well,
So
yeah.
please
We had
Don't
fun
read
reading
those.
through those. No, you really should, but you can't believe. So the FAQ is correct, but if you look at the pro cons, those are opinions,
Right.
is what you're saying. I
those
think
are
that's-
purely entertainment.
Yes. I want to thank you all for coming in today, and I also wish you the best of luck for the next couple weeks.
Thank you.
It's going to be really busy. As we mentioned, don't vote November, March 5th. Please get out. And there are still many opportunities where you can get more information, so please do that.
And
I'll
we're
let you finish with.
we're having an event at Lift 1A at the Lift, skiing 12 to 2, I believe, on the 23rd of February.
23rd of
And
February.
then
Yep,
we're
it's
also-
Saturday, 12
yeah.
to 2.
And
Yep.
plenty of other events that we'll have in the paper. And
Right at the base of the lift.
yeah.
The lift will be running.
Great.
The
Yeah.
old lift. The
Thank
current
you
lift.
so much.
We'll keep you informed.
Thank you for joining us for ACRA's election forum. And we will be back next election, or maybe the runoffs.